Okay, welcome to this episode of Barn Banter. This is truly going to just be a discussion. I have no idea where this is going to end up, but it started with, today I get a Facebook message from a client of ours that was actually before Brent. I had her for a couple years when I was just a 4-H coach, and she had her horse here in the barn, and she has moved away, and she is going to come back to visit her mom for the holidays. And would we mind if she brought her 2 sons and her husband to come see the babies, and visit in the barn for a little bit on Saturday? And that got me to thinking about all of the clients that we have kept track of in all the years that have walked through the threshold of this barn.
I'll give you a heads up. Her thinking about all of those occupied a lot of her time. She probably didn't get much work done because there's a lot of them. You know, it's 32 years we've been doing this together, and there's a lot that we can.
You know, some
remember.
of our clients have gone on to be lawyers, doctors. Some of our clients have done very well in real estate. One of our clients that was just here today was also before Julie. She is from the first woman graduating class of Notre Dame, so she's in her mid-70s. She has a PhD in math, and she had horses with me before Brent because her 2 boys were in my 4-H club.
Right. Yep.
And now she needed a new horse for her granddaughter, and she's back getting this horse, and it happens to be a guslet.
Yeah.
Broke enough that her granddaughter is going to be able to come ride it while the granddaughter's in college. And the people that have walked through our doors, you know, we have an ex-amateur client that is in Colorado and showing, I believe it's Western dressage horses. Is Joe showing Western dressage horses?
Dressage, working equitation, you know.
And she's been to foreign countries to go to clinics.
Yeah.
And we have an ex-client that,
Former client.
yeah, where it says ex, they didn't leave, they graduated out of the program. An old client that she had her first pony with us, and she went on to work at Thoroughbred Farms.
3 Chimneys.
Taught her to jump, and she and her husband's a veterinarian, they both have a very high-end 3-day eventing program here in Indiana.
Importing horses from Europe and
Yes.
You know, very successful. It all started with about a 52-inch gray pony.
Yes,
And
when I pulled the jumps out to teach the pony to jump, her mother looked at me vehemently and said, "No, that is where her father and I draw the line. We are not teaching her to jump." I just keep dragging the old poles for the lesson, and I promised her mom that if the pony wouldn't jump, that I wouldn't pursue this any further, and we found that pony's calling. And he is buried here on the farm. He did a great job for her and gave her a passion for showing. And we've had girls come back and specifically stop and tell Brent what showing horses and what the program that we developed here has done for them as far as their career choices and career future, and what their interviewing skills and things. And you know, we really watched a lot of our clients go on to do really big things, which takes me to I'm going to gather up several of those. So those of you that are watching it that are from our previous program, you'll be getting contacted by me because I'm going to do little interviews with you, and you're going to tell us what horses meant to you and what your biggest memory is here, and you know, what a part of walking through the halls of Harnish performance horses did for you in your future endeavors. And while I was headed down the road, I was like, there's a little bit of trivia that people probably don't know. Okay, um, one, Becky George, who is one of the biggest
Elite.
uh, trainers now, quarter horse trainers now. Um, she was one of my very first 4-H clients. I had her. She showed a little pony, and we did lessons with her. And Becky then showed horses with my sister Joni through the youth paint program. And you know, look where Becky's turned out to go. Another one of our the walk through the doors here has been here is Carly Belgian Parks. Carly used to be Becky George's client. When Becky George moved on to another barn, her mother came here and
we just built the indoor arena, and we had leased part of the barn out to another trainer.
And so they came to work with the other trainer, but Carly and her sister Julie came to the barn and boarded here for a couple years.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of funny in the thing. Julie didn't want to leave the barn. She had herself barricaded across her mare's stall. Mare was Skippy, and she was not leaving the barn. So picture, if you happen to know Carly's sister Julie, picture her doing that as probably about a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, and telling her mother she wasn't moving.
Yeah.
And then Brent kind of claims his claim to fame is
this young lady had been training with Goodings, Sneeson and Garth, but wanted some help on trail. So they asked if I would help her through the trail at the World Show, and I gladly did. She was still 13 and under. She may have been 11 or 12 at the time, and that is Kate Upton. And Kate Upton now trains with Becky George and still does trail in multiple events, and obviously has become famous in her own right, and married a famous sports individual. So she's been beyond successful, to say the least. But my claim to fame is I coached Kate Upton at the World Show. So that's that one.
it's just been amazing, you know, when I really and I can't even begin to touch the tip of the iceberg. So if we've left anybody out, I certainly apologize now. It's just a matter of, you know, you begin to walk down the road and you're like, how many people have we and this barn, and I'd like to think the morals and the ethics that we have brought up with some of these people and good values that we've brought with the kids that have become adults that have taken that on with them to to various portions of their lives and just been really, really successful. And then some of them, that passion just never went away, and they still have horses.
I was going to say, many of you will know Chandra Gall. What's Chandra's married name? Hildebrand. She spent her whole youth career with us and then moved to Florida. Has a really incredible job. She runs the heart-lung machine during open heart surgery and is in Florida. She still shows, and we have a great relationship with her. Her best friend is a girl named Sarah Drown. Sarah went to the service and served in Afghanistan as a platoon leader, and had men and women underneath her, and she still is in the service. She has an upper position, management type position with the reserves. And from time to time, we still get to hear from her.
And she's on her second farm property and building
Yep.
an indoor arena.
Yep.
So she still has
She
horses.
still has horses.
And then one of the trio, if you knew the three girls, Anna Smith. Anna is a very successful mortgage broker
in New York.
And she went on to train thoroughbreds.
Gallop thoroughbreds, not trained, but gallop thoroughbreds. And not only here in the United States, but she spent 2 years in Australia and rode in Ireland for a year.
And got out of horses for a little bit, and has since, if you happen to watch any of ours, I'm certain you've seen her post Chaps the Golden Pony.
Yeah.
She has taken my sister's old horse,
GSR.
and he's living the best life, and she is enjoying life with him. But there's a bunch of girls, mostly, I really, no guys come to the top of my head that we have had that have passed through here. But I really think that it's going.
Brian Hominick owns the land.
Brian Hominick, yes.
The one, Julie's going to tell you. Well, I'll tell the story, or she'll interrupt and finish the story. But probably the most satisfying thing we ever did. Our neighbor boy. His sister had rode with us, or was riding with us, and her mom came to us and wanted her son to learn to ride, and he had
Cerebral palsy.
And when he came, this is going to even make me tear up. I tear up every time I tell this story. When he came, he was using a walker.
And braces on both legs.
And he was in physical therapy, and he was getting stronger after riding a few months, and the doctors questioned what they were doing, and Mom told them riding horses, and they really endorsed, what we were doing or what they were doing.
What I didn't know is there is no real therapy that they can do. The horses, when they move and they walk and they trot, it's like we would be using our upper buttock muscles, and so that physical therapy of riding the horses is not anything that they can reproduce.
They can't.
And Mom didn't want him to go. There are therapeutic riding programs. Mom didn't want him to go to one of those. She wanted him to be treated like the regular kids. And so when she came to me, I'm like, I have no idea how this is going to go, because I've never done this before.
But you had Gallant.
And I had Tibby.
Yep.
And when he first learned to ride, I rode behind him with my hands on the horn. He was like, so that was his safety belt. And he was like literally a sack of potatoes. He was off one side, hitting me here, hitting me here. He was bouncing all over everywhere. And he developed enough muscle strength, and those two horses are in horse heaven for being lesson horses, because he would think he was kicking him and telling him to trot, and all I had to do was stand in the middle of the arena and go, okay, trot, Gallant, and trot. He would do. Both those horses took care of that little boy. We would go on trail rides in the fall. He specifically liked going in the late summer, early fall when the boysenberries were, and we'd come back from the trail rides, his and my mouth were nothing but purple.
Yeah.
And the most important thing I wanted you to take out of this is that when he was probably 11 or 12, we had a open horse show, and it
Horse fair.
No, it wasn't a fair. It was a horse show.
Okay.
And we had got Zach ready to go, and had a really, really broke horse. Wasn't one of my lesson horses. It was JC Boilermaker Pete, tell him you know Overo paint. And I sent Zach in the class, like any of the other kids. Didn't think anything of it. And he was dressed the right way, didn't wear a helmet, wore a cowboy hat. And I think he placed 6th. I know he placed, and it was a nice sized class.
Right.
Okay, but he did not get the gate. And I had someone come to me after that class and asked me if I knew what I had actually done. And I'm like, well, no, I let a kid show a walk trot horse. What had I actually done? And she said that it was the first time in Zach's life that he ever walked in somewhere and no one knew he was handicapped because he'd left his walk. At that point, he was in a tripod.
Yeah.
He left his tripod in the makeup pen and went in and rode with the kids just like all the other kids. And, you know, I was just doing a job. I did not really understand the implications of how that particular moment made a difference in Zach's life.
Yeah.
And yes, I keep track of Zach. Zach is a minister.
I was going to say.
I think he's in
Master.
Wisconsin or Minnesota, but he's a minister. And has 2 wonderful little boys, beautiful wife. And so, you know, as we pass through the thought processes of the differences that we've made in people's lives here in just our simple little barn. And we tell people this is not the Hilton. This is a kind of nice Motel 6. But the graces and the abilities that the Lord has given us as with horses as a precipitator for it has certainly changed a lot of lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but watch for, there will be several videos because there's several people that I really want to go back to, and I want to talk about their little things that they remember about us and what this has meant for their future. And we're really proud of everyone, and more importantly, we're just happy that you enjoyed your time here enough that keeping track of what we're continuing to do and always checking on us and things is just very, very
Humbling.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very special to us. It's made our lives complete, you know. And everybody knows that trainers don't make a lot of money, you know, but you know, life's not all about money, and we have been very, very fortunate we didn't touch 10% of the kids. We've talked about 8 or 10,
I can't even.
and there's got to be 100, you know, it's or more, you know. So I wish the industry could figure out how to market the benefits that we've seen, you know, and the difference it's made in kids' lives as adults, and rather than just chase points in a trophy. And but there are a huge number of benefits that come with this, and we're fortunate enough to have witnessed
And it really
a lot
has,
of them.
and it really has nothing to do with how you placed.
No,
It has everything to do with who you've done it with.
yeah.
So,
And how it's made you better, a better person.
so that's our little bit of thoughts tonight based on my little Facebook message today, and we'll look forward to having Erin come this weekend and meet our babies, and she gets to ride Joni's horse, and I don't think she swung her leg over a horse in, I'll bet 30 years.
I'm guessing, yeah.
So, you know, she'll enjoy her time here, and we're just very glad that we are still alive and kicking and able to do it for people. So,
Yep. Absolutely.
So
It's kept
watch
us
for
young.
more of this on our YouTube channel. Like us, subscribe to us, and everybody have a good evening.
Yeah.
Night.
Good night.